Two lanes, separated from each other by a clear line. One gender, separated from the other by the amount of fame. We are put into categories that have never been fitting. Has this ever been about fair play? Female athletes act against the law of nature, said Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympic Games. That is why for decades, no woman was permitted to run on this holy ground. Welcome to the birthplace of sports, the Olympiastadion of Athens. Built exclusively to create male heroes. It says, history is written by the victors. But where does that leave those who were never supposed to be part of the game? Dearest audience, do you still believe in the heroes' tales told by the victors? Do you still enter their monuments with devotion? An arena built of solid stone for eternity. But this foundation will soon begin to crumble. The apparently impenetrable walls will reveal themselves to have been a delusion.
Ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2, 1, 2.
The most important thing in the Olympic Games The goal of the Olympic Games is to place sport at the service of the harmonious development of humankind, concerned with the preservation of human dignity. The ideals appear noble, but in the end, the winner is the one who fights the others. These tales of victory are preserved in the places they are told. By entering these places, we're standing on all the history that has been written there ever since.
Olympische Spiele 1928. Athleten aus aller Welt wetteifern in mehr als 100 Disziplinen. In der Leichtathletik nach langen Kontroversen eine Neuerung. Der Frauensport wird propagiert, allerdings noch von Herren eskortiert. Es werden Befürchtungen laut, dass der strapaziöse sportliche Wettkampf das schwache Geschlecht körperlich schädigen könnte.
Hello? Wir begrüßen Sie live von den Olympischen Spielen 1928. Der erste 800-Meter-Lauf für Frauen wird in wenigen Augenblicken beginnen.
We've traveled back in time to attend this historic competition. We're going to watch very closely to show you what happened here on this track.
Live aus dem Stadion das große 800-Meter-Finale der Frauen. Nie zuvor durften weibliche Athletinnen hier antreten. Nun aber schließlich doch. 9 Frauen im Kampf um die erste olympische Medaille in dieser Disziplin. Hier noch an 2. Position wird die Siegerin des Laufes gleich Lina Radke heißen. Doch in der Berichterstattung wird der Fokus nicht auf der Gewinnerin liegen, sondern auf einer Athletin, die beim Zieleinlauf stürzt. Nichts Unübliches bei 800-Meter-Läufen. 2 ganze Stadionrunden im vollen Sprint verlangen dem menschlichen Körper mehr ab als jede andere Strecke. Daher lassen sich Männer wie Frauen bei 800-Meter-Läufen regelmäßig mit letzter Kraft ins Ziel fallen. Wer am Ende noch stehen kann, hat sich nicht genug verausgabt, heißt es. Doch hier sorgt der Sturz einer Läuferin für große Aufregung. Die Herren des Olympischen Komitees eilen zur Hilfe. In die Geschichtsbücher wird geschrieben: Frauenkörper wie befürchtet zu schwach für eine Distanz von 800 Metern. Sämtliche Läuferinnen an der Ziellinie kollabiert. Einige vor Verausgabung fast gestorben. Daraufhin wird der 800-Meter-Lauf für Frauen am Tag seiner Einführung bereits wieder verboten und für die kommenden 32 Jahre aus den olympischen Frauendisziplinen gestrichen. Liebe Lina Radke, wir haben gesehen, wie du diesen historischen 800-Meter-Lauf gewonnen hast. Deine Zeit 2 Minuten 16,8. Erstes Olympiagold für die deutsche Leichtathletik. Doch in all der Aufregung gab es nie eine Siegerehrung für dich. Keinen Jubel, kein Podest. Was, wenn wir nun zu dem Moment zurückkehren, als du die Ziellinie überquert hast? Wir die Geschichte von dort aus aber anders fortschreiben. Lina Radke kann sich weiter absetzen. 2 ganze Schrittlängen voraus. Das wird zum Sieg reichen. Ja, Sieg für Lina Radke! Eine sagenhafte Zeit. 2 Minuten 16,8. Damit übertrifft Lina Radke nicht nur ihre eigene Bestzeit, sondern sie werden hier auch Zeugin der ersten deutschen Leichtathletik-Goldmedaille überhaupt in der Geschichte der Olympischen Spiele.
(2019) lief ich eine bayerische Meisterschaft Marathon und es bestand eine reelle Chance, dass ich vorn auf die ersten 3 Plätze gesamt laufen könnte. Also laufe ich dementsprechend da ambitioniert mit. Also das heißt intensiv, maximal. Ich tue alles, was ich kann, weil einmal die Chance zu haben, bei einem kleinen Feld eine Medaille zu holen, ist natürlich ein schönes Angebot. Dann laufe ich bei Kilometer 35 vorbei, kommt der Radfahrer, der die Streckenkontrolle macht und sagt mir, ich bin auf Platz 1. Ich habe mich da wirklich ins Ziel reingekämpft. Ich hatte wirklich Probleme mit den Beinen und bin im Ziel, so wie sich das gehört, anständig über die Ziellinie gefallen und zusammengebrochen und musste mich wegtragen lassen. Und so schleppe ich mich dann zur Siegerehrung und stelle fest, ich bin gar nicht die erste Dame, ich bin die zweite. Ich habe das so akzeptiert, wie es auf der Liste stand. Und bin auch dann so nach Hause gefahren mit der Silbermedaille. Nur habe ich dann zu Hause nachgesehen und die Dame, die vor mir in der Liste stand, die war gar nicht gemeldet. Die war gar nicht dabei. Wie kann das sein? Eine Läuferin, die gar nicht gemeldet ist, gewinnt die bayerische Meisterschaft Marathon. Und die Reklamation führte einfach zur Aussage, dass ich zu spät bin mit dem Einspruch. Ich hätte 30 Minuten Zeit gehabt nach dem Zieleinlauf, da hätte ich das reklamieren müssen, dass hier praktisch manipuliert worden ist. Ja. Bis ich bei der nächsten Etage einen Protest eingeleitet habe, wurde dann ohne Kommentar die Goldmedaille an meinen Verein geschickt. Das Ergebnis wurde korrigiert. Es wurde dann als Meldefehler deklariert, ja? Weil keiner ja zugeben wollte, dass er das ja vorsätzlich gemacht hat, sondern es wurde ein Meldefehler gemacht. Eine Urkunde habe ich nie erhalten, eine Siegerehrung auch nicht. Man will halt einfach eine andere Läuferin auf dem Siegertreppchen haben als eine transsexuelle Frau.
Olympiastadion Berlin, erbaut 1936 von den Nationalsozialisten. Eine Arena für den sogenannten Volkskörper. Ausbildungsstätte hierfür die Deutsche Reichsakademie für Leibesübungen. Zielsetzung: die angeblich natürliche Überlegenheit des deutschen Volkes zu demonstrieren. Gestählte Körperpanzer in Reih und Glied, als Einheit des Blutes imaginiert. Um das faschistische Körperideal historisch aufzuladen, ließ sich der Deutsche Reichsausschuss für Sport etwas ganz Besonderes einfallen. Die Olympischen Spiele reichen zurück bis in die Antike. Doch nicht so der olympische Fackellauf. Dieses Ritual wurde erst von den Nationalsozialisten als fester Bestandteil der Spiele aufgenommen. Um den Fackellauf aber dennoch als antike Tradition zu stilisieren, ließ man entsprechende Szenen nachinszenieren. Die archaischen Körper von damals in einer Linie mit den Körpern des Faschismus. Eine Illusion von Reinheit, festgehalten in einem Ritual für die Ewigkeit, das bis heute zur Eröffnung aller Olympischen Spiele durchgeführt wird. Aus Angst vor Vermischung und Verunreinigung muss dabei alles Uneindeutige beseitigt werden, um im gefürchteten Dunst des Weibischen, des Kranken und Versifften niemals den Halt zu verlieren. Olympiastadion Berlin. Erbaut von den Nationalsozialisten und bis heute Austragungsort großer internationaler Sportwettkämpfe. Scheinbar aus massivem Stein für die Ewigkeit errichtet. Doch blickt man unter die Oberfläche, so stellt man fest, es handelt sich nur um ein dünnes Betongerüst, das mit einer Schicht aus Sandstein bedeckt wurde. Dieses Gerüst vermodert langsam von innen. Der Sandstein wird immer poröser. Erste Teile beginnen sich abzulösen.
Hey, your legs are all crooked.
Don't say that. My whole personality is based on that.
With our divergent, ambiguous bodies, we decompose the persistent attachment to the unambiguous.
With our bodily fluids trickling into all cracks, we contaminate the supposedly natural, which has never existed.
Ladies and gentlemen.
In order to still cry on point for the award ceremony, from now on, we drip artificial tears onto our cheeks. But these dusty marching anthems have not been touching us for a very long time.
But for now it's time to run. It's time to run.
Stella Walsh, representing Poland, coming up like a cyclone to win by a half a yard, equaling her own world's record of 11 9/10 seconds.
The leading sports writers of the country have said that she runs more nearly like a man than any other woman they have ever seen.
I'm very happy to have won this title for my homeland, especially because it was in world record time.
She runs more nearly like a man than any other woman they have ever seen.
Stella Walsh, one of the most successful athletes in the 1930s. But her world record times caused quite a fuss. How can any female athlete run that fast? They started to analyze her training. They examined her movements. Stella Walsh seemed beyond the ordinary rules, exceptional in so many ways, and hard to even describe.
You will note Miss Walsh is very steady in the get-set position. She is the only girl that I know of that takes the long first stride. This is against the ordinary rule, and in the average girl or the average man takes rapid short strides, the first one being very short. It requires a great deal of strength and driving power to get away with a long first stride. This next exercise is very important as it develops the fingers, the wrists, the shoulders, the arms, and chest muscles, which are so important to the sprinter who is in the get-set position.
Stella Walsh became a famous Olympic champion. Large crowds gathered to see her competing, fascinated by her talent and her continued success.
I'm very happy to have won the final of this 220-yard race. It was very tough going, but came through all right. Had some hard luck today, too.
Now for Miss Walsh, perhaps the most amazing woman athlete in the world. She has a race with a man opponent. There's perfect action for you. Man is always chasing woman, but in this case, doesn't stand a chance. Study the start this way, and you get a good idea of her style. Now she is traveling at top speed, but slowed down by the slow-motion camera, and still being chased by that man. By the way, in case you're interested, she is a vegetarian. Maybe that helps.
Stella, this great array of trophies and all those medals you have pinned all over you represent a great deal of intensive training and hard work. This plaque looks different and rather odd. What did you get that one for? Oh, I got that.
At the age of 68, Stella Walsh was accidentally shot in an armed robbery while she was shopping for a friend's birthday. Her dead body was autopsied, and besides the cause of death, the doctors also found out Stella Walsh had no uterus. So post-mortem, they classified her intersex. This information became public. All newspapers reported on it, followed by a great deal of confusion. How to handle an athlete between the sexes, how to deal with her achievements. Today, Stella Walsh hardly appears in any history book. Even though one of the most successful athletes ever, she has been almost completely forgotten. Dear Stella Walsh, we want to lean on you, and you can lean on us. We are following your movements and transforming them into gestures of collective support.
For me, a lot came up of like, what are we doing and why? And so this idea of like celebrating this person, remembering some type of like honoring, also thinking of the legacy and like how much female athletes and queer athletes and people on the margins that have competed like have not been remembered or valued or made visible in terms of legacy of like what they've done. And so, yeah, I think a big part, like I see around it of like celebrating and somehow like remembering, and also a piece around like training with this idea of like togetherness.
Also knowing that like this would have been a different track than she would have been getting set for.
Yeah.
She was touching just dirt, just straight up dirt with like leather shoes that had spikes on them. And now we're on recycled tires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So something about that too, and like the pieces.
Nurdles.
Yeah.
Dear Stella Walsh, we want to hold and care for your legacy. By connecting with your movements, we feel the link between your history and an untold future. If history is written by the victors, where does that leave those whose victories have been forgotten?
Yeah, this was definitely my experience, like competing as a professional athlete and all of the pressure to hyper-feminize. Like long hair, makeup, tight uniforms. And I mean, a big part of it, of them saying, this is for marketing, this is how you fill the stadiums, like this is how you get fans, because we didn't have enough fans. And us saying, okay, all right, like, yeah, I'll do that. And I'll wear what I want to wear afterwards, and I'll do this in order to get resources and other opportunities. But then really looking and saying, how much of this is really a tool that I'm using and able to do this in an empowering way, and how much of this is actually entirely disempowering and stepping off the field and internalizing so much of that and being like, where am I? What is my experience? What is empowering for me? And so much like collisions and questions in that with myself and my teammates, and like understanding, yeah, how to use this, how to make it a tool or make it ours. It's like,
yeah. It's funny, in the eyes, I had to stop playing football because I was a woman, and you were forced to be more woman as you actually wanted to be. It's It's crazy.
More woman. I mean,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
does that mean?
Ich habe ja oft irgendwie das Problem gehabt, dass irgendwie die Leute so, ist das ein Mann, ist das eine Frau und sowas. Und das hat mich immer total genervt.
Let's not talk about equal pay in sports.
Yes. Yeah, surprise.
Yeah, I mean, also a big part for us, like realizing that so much of this pressure around like hyper-feminizing and the gender and them not wanting to say, we don't want you to look masculine, and like all this homophobia tied to it that would never be talked about. We would just talk about the gender, not the sexuality. And all of that like underlying subtle pressure that was like,
terrible.
better be straight
stupid.
and heterosexy,
It's just
and
stupid.
to quell all these suspicions that maybe you're not straight. The market says that you don't have enough demand, so you don't deserve. So then this feeling of like, oh, yeah, you're right, we don't deserve this. But like internalizing all of that and then coming and like looking and thinking that we can't talk about the rewards and the recognition. And we used to say it like on top of the field without looking underneath and talking about the resources and the rights. Like how much have you invested in it? How much resources have you put in, allowed in order for it to grow and be visible and have value in many different ways? And if we're just looking on the surface, of course, that's going to be the market argument.
Ja, du müsstest ja ein bisschen. Gut, am Laufstil kann man nicht mehr viel ändern bei dir, aber ein bisschen einen anderen Laufstil brauchst.
Okay,
Wenn
das
du jetzt
wäre.
schnell laufst, dass du einfach ein bisschen mehr auf den Vorfuß gehst.
Müsste ich schneller laufen?
Nein, man kann auch langsam auf den Vorfuß laufen. Das liegt an der
Probieren.
Da, ein bisschen
Also mehr Belastung auf den
Vorfuß.
Auf den Vorfuß. Ja. Kann ich aber setzen.
Innenseiten daher. Dann brauchen wir 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Da brauchen wir doch 2 Tore. Dann geht's da ein Tor. Für die Schwungarbeit, ja, da haben wir noch was. Für die Schwunggymnastik.
Also wenn du als Frau in einem 10 Kilometer Wettkampf mitläufst, ist es ganz schwierig für die Herren, wenn du also nicht den ersten oder so, sondern wenn du überhaupt Herren überholst. Das ist ein Riesenproblem. Ja. Das geht immer auf das hinaus. Damen laufen relativ gleichmäßig, ich auch. Ich laufe mein Tempo durch und irgendwo ist es bei den Herren eigentlich tendenziell eher so, dass sie eher schnell anlaufen und hinten schnell einbrechen. Und da kommt es eben vor, dass du ab und zu die Herren auch wieder beim Startlauf überholst. Und da wirst du wirklich, wie sagt man, angegriffen, ja? Blöd angeredet, ja? Also attackiert.
Ach so,
Das, also totale Aussetzer passiert. Ja.
Ach so,
Das kenne ich so von früher nicht so, die sich dann beschweren, dass ich zu laut schnaufe, dass ich zu nah auflaufe, ich soll Abstand halten. Ja. Also, okay. Das ist unglaublich, ja.
Richtig durchziehen, nicht peitschen. Ja. Denkt dran, da darf der Sand rausfliegen.
Gibt aber auch welche, die dann hinter mir zusammenbrechen. Ich hatte das auch schon, das Vergnügen, dass hier 2 Männer, die sich bis zuletzt mit mir duelliert haben, im Ziel hinter mir zusammenbrachen. Weil sie auf keinen Fall von einer Frau noch überholt werden wollten. Also das ist gang und gäbe. Ja. Das ist angelerntes Verhalten.
Ja, das macht es ein bisschen.
Es gibt beim Training Unterschiede oder auch beim Wettkampf Unterschiede. Zum Beispiel bei der Aufstellung im Start. Auffällig ist es, dass sich die Frauen tendenziell, nicht alle, aber die meisten, hinter den Männern einordnen. Obwohl es ja so ist, dass da genug Platz ist und dass die ersten Frauen ja auch um den ersten Platz bei den Frauen laufen, stellen sie sich hinter den Männern auf. Es ist so, dass ich mich aus der Tradition immer vorne am Trassierband aufgestellt habe und es auch heute noch so tue, weil ich auch bei den Frauen um den ersten Platz oder um die ersten Plätze laufen will. Das ist Erziehungsgeschichte. Man muss verstehen, ich bin als Frau in einem männlichen Körper geboren, aber wurde auch als Mann erzogen. Also habe ich diese Auseinandersetzung, diese Ellenbogentaktik oder um den ersten Platz vorne zu buhlen, das wurde mir heute so angelernt. Und in Frauen vielleicht eher weniger. Und dieses hat sich aber auch in den letzten Jahren, seit ich laufe, hier bei den Wettkämpfen geändert. Nachdem ich vorne stehe, stehen jetzt meine Wettbewerberinnen auch mit mir vorne.
We're about to introduce the first of 3 semi-finals. Quick breaking news, the Olympic champion Elaine Thompson, who was due in the second of the semi-finals, does not start.
The chances of Dina Asher-Smith of Great Britain, as we see Sasha Forbes, the Olympic relay silver medalist. Cambunji was well on the outside for Switzerland.
Está por la calle 6 Erika Jackson, que incluso tiene mejor marca que Hace este año.
10,92 Indisch Garner, 10,94.
Auf Bahn 6. Das sind wohl die, um die es hier gehen wird.
Ika Bauer na 6. Małgorzata Hope na 8.
Over 400 meters, down at 200 meters.
Record. Athletes all over the world.
Short question in between. Do you know who is the most successful Olympian of all time? Michael Phelps, winner of 28 Olympic medals. A few years ago, they found out that this guy is equipped with the perfect athlete's body. His arms have ideal proportions, his joints are extremely flexible, and on top of that, his muscles produce very little lactic acid. This gives him the ability to perform at full capacity for much longer than his competitors. Due to this extraordinary physical constitution, Michael Phelps has won more Olympic medals than any other human being on this planet. For female athletes with exceptional bodies performing exceptionally well, the story has a different ending. Shortly after the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin, the Olympic Committee established so-called Femininity certificates. They were granted to verify the sex of female athletes with prominent, strong muscles. In the 1950s, the Athletics World Federation began with genital examinations. From that point on, every female athlete's genitals were checked to make sure they were actually women. Some years later, this examination was replaced by chromosome testing, which after a while was proven to be unscientific. In 2009, and valid until this day, the so-called regulations on female hyperandrogenism took over, meaning women with naturally high levels of testosterone are no longer allowed to compete if they don't reduce these levels. A small side note to this regulation. Not every female athlete is checked for their levels of testosterone. This only happens when questions about the gender arise, and when a female athlete stands out due to exceptionally fast times or due to conspicuously masculine appearance.
Now please get ready for the great highlight of today. The 800-meter women's final with the world champion, Annet Negesa. The stage is set. The countdown continues on one of the glittering Olympic nights. In some ways, you may think they're just strangers on the screen, but they represent so much more. Perhaps their combined stories to get here can stand as a symbol of hope and inspiration, a timely reminder of the power of the human spirit to endure, to believe, and to dream. The women's 800-meter final.
When you have a dream you are chasing, you have to give it time. So I was working hard to reach for my dream where I want to be. I started running when I was in class 5, that's when I was 10 years old. When I reached class 6, that's the time I started doing competitions, like for the school. I ran really good and I won my race. And my mother was not really getting it, and she was asking herself, why? Didn't know that my kid is doing wonders on the track. I loved it so much, and I had a dream of like reaching the Olympics. So I went for African Junior. I got 2 gold medals, and I qualified for World Championship. My time was 1:59.05 in 800 meters. That's the time I qualified for Olympics. And I was just ready for the game. But some weeks to the Olympics, they brought up new regulations for athletes with high level of testosterone. They took me for like doing more blood samples and did like a body checkup. They took me to the MRI, something like that. And they told me I'm not able to go for competitions because like my blood has like a level of testosterone. There were executive members from the federation who were like taking me to the hospital, like they were going with me there, but they didn't give me like much information about the procedure. They just told me they can do an injection into my body to do the reduction of the level of testosterone. But I wakes up seeing wounds on my belly. So I found out that they have cut me. They discharged me from the hospital. They told me after some few weeks, you'll be normal to come back like running good as I was. But I have some issues of my knees, like paining, I had like terrible headache. Also my joints were weak. It was like becoming more hard and harder and harder.
Nice little, really built up. And keep active so that you have tension and you have a good posture while running. So you're light.
Okay.
Don't feel your body weight, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, we do this twice, and then we've got the next one is only these runs we'll do, these repetitive runs. Okay, up we go.
Yeah.
Start here somewhere, and then you just go back up to here, about here, yes, for the yellow. So as soon as you see the yellow line, you move into the forward movement and you go running again.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, I come. Push, 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 push. Yeah.
You can't make a surgery on a healthy body and think that that body will remain the same. When I stay home without training, I was feeling like I'm not okay. So, like I tried so much, like I did so hard training and I did too much, but I didn't make it back into competition for 10 years until now.
So how did it feel? You felt the difference?
Yeah.
But you see, this is what is lacking. This is what usually when you can go jogging, you can do whatever, you can focus on everything, but you need to work as well on this type of mechanics as well, so that makes whatever you do,
So
all the efforts become more efficient.
easy.
Yeah,
But
it becomes more easy. Yeah? You don't feel your body weight, you don't feel that you have to work for it, it's just your efforts are immediately giving you the feedback that, ooh, it can go. And then, yes, if you're out of shape, you can't go maybe as long, you can go as fast, as often as you want, but you feel when you do it, what you can do is limited maybe, but it's okay. All right, so what I would do now is just, without doing any of the drills, you just go now and do a build-up. You start running faster and faster, see, until when do I get problems with my mechanics? And that feeling of being light. Up you go.
Even though it will take me time, I'm planning I want to come back to track, so I know it wants time, I'll also give it time. What made me to recover all sorts of issues which happened to me is that time when I talked about everything which is happening behind the scene to the athletes. Very many athletes also consult to me and also give them advice because I don't want them also to go in such situation which I was in.
Do you have a favorite track, line to run in?
No, hand line is okay.
I'm able to run.
Someone running 400 meters, running at 44, I say. Very shitty.
That's the time I started feeling my heart is relaxed and refilled.
Such hormone-changing surgeries have been done to a number of athletes, most of whom are female athletes of color. The majority of interventions happened without prior informed consent. Anyone who opposes such a procedure is no longer allowed to compete, like the famous South African runner Caster Semenya. Her lawsuit against the World Athletics regulation was rejected. As such lawsuits are expensive and without much chance of success, most female athletes do not even try to take legal action. If history is written by the victors, what about those who are violently banned from competing?
Press enter to start the tour. Number 1, Introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the sacred ground of the historic Olympic Stadium in Athens. This is the birthplace of the Olympic ideals. I invite you to become part of the history, to feel the emotions and share the dreams that were cultivated in this stadium for centuries. Number 3, Architecture. This stadium is also known as Kali Marmaro, which means beautiful marble. With the help of a rich sponsor, these tribunes for about 50,000 spectators were built entirely of white marble. In 1896, the first Olympic Games of modern times took place right here on the...
Dear audience, a small side note to the noble history of this place. Yes, these tribunes were supposed to be built entirely of marble, but as time and money were running out, large sections of the structure had to be built of wood.
However, you can barely tell the difference. And so the spectators, sitting on white painted wood, were convinced to be seated on precious marble.
According to the noble spirit of the Olympic ideals. The goal of the Olympic Games is to place sport at the service of the harmonious development of humankind, with a view to promoting a peaceful society concerned with the preservation of human dignity.
While colonizing, objectifying, and dehumanizing black bodies, white people were celebrating themselves as Olympians, right here in this place.
The surface of this stadium's running track was made black to nicely contrast the all-white athletes competing here. Everyone not white and male was denied to be part of the games.
We won't be satisfied with simply joining the games and playing by the established rules. But since we are here now, let's take this one.
Seconds later, Jean Holmes wins. Miss Rudolph is second, a rare defeat. Ms. Holmes is also from Tennessee State. The indoor track meet now shifts to the mile, featuring Jim Beattie of Los Angeles and Michel Jazzy of France. Jazzy finished second to Herb Elliott in the Olympic metric mile. This is the first time Jazzy in the lead has ever run on the boards. He fights to hold the lead in the last lap, but Beattie is closing his heels as they head into the final turn.
We've traveled in time again, and now welcome you from the 1962 Indoor Championships, live from Los Angeles. We find ourselves next to some passionate reporters right on the press tribune, with an excellent perspective on the events. Amongst all these athletes, we would like to introduce you to this extraordinary woman, Wilma Rudolph, from Clarksville, Tennessee. Growing up in the 1940s in a racially segregated United States, Wilma Rudolph had to overcome a severe polio infection. She spent years lying in her bed as there was little medical care available to African Americans. Doctors even suspected she might never be able to walk again. 10 years later, Wilma Rudolph won her third Olympic gold medal in sprinting, the first woman ever to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. After this great success, her hometown celebrated Welcome Wilma Day, a parade in her honor that was still planned to be racially segregated. But Wilma Rudolph refused to attend if it would not be open to all. In the end, her homecoming parade became the first non-segregated event in the town's history. Dear Wilma Rudolph, we are relieved to hear that you've not been all alone in these struggles. Ever since she was a young athlete, Wilma Rudolph has been part of the Tiger Bells, a successful sports team for African American women. They supported each other on their way through a segregated, male-dominated world of sports. For people on the margins, it's never only about the athletic competition. We always have to compete on multiple levels. These struggles leave their traces. Bodies constantly marked as other and outside. But collectively, we can start transforming these traces into well-healing scars.
The first time I did whoosh, and it's really, there were such stroke of flesh which were gone, but it didn't hurt me. And this is a really trophy because I think I was 8 or something like that. So that's really very long ago.
So you're proud of it?
Yeah, I'm very proud of it.
I actually don't have many scars or anything visible, but like my main healing from sport has been from like the pace. Recovering from the pace of competitive sport, letting myself catch up to myself after this pace of like hyper acceleration, and what does that kind of like slowing down deceleration look like? But it feels like healing, whatever that is, like the slowing.
Ich habe 2 Narben und zwar bin ich vor so 4 Jahren, also so mit 25 circa, bin ich beim Laufen gestürzt. Ich war so bei Kilometer 9 und dann bin ich aus irgendeinem Grund gestolpert. Ich weiß nicht, also es war Sommer und heiß, keine Ahnung, nicht gefrühstückt, dies, das. Und dann bin ich gestolpert und aus dieser Brücke standen so Bolzen raus, also wie so Riesenschrauben, so groß ungefähr. Und ich bin einmal mit dem Knie reingefallen und einmal mit dem Gesicht und habe mir halt das hier da oben durchgerissen.
Furchtbar.
Ach,
ja,
Scheiße. Das war nicht so cool.
Dein Ernst?
Ja, und dann kamen gleich Leute, die erste Hilfe geleistet haben und mir ist halt das Blut so aus dem Gesicht geschossen. Und dann wurde das eben innen drin genäht, damit das außen nicht so vernarbt und jetzt, ja.
Die haben das innen genäht?
Innen genäht und außen geklebt, ja.
Oh, krass.
Ja.
So oh mein Gott.
Ja.
Aber das ist ja schlau.
Das war gut, ja. Ja. Mein Opa hat gesagt, so kann ich noch einen Mann finden.
Siehst du wohl.
Sieht leider trotzdem schlecht aus.
Laufen hat sich damals rein als Kraftanstrengung angefühlt. Es ging nur um das Training und um die Zeit, noch 1 Minute schneller zu laufen. Sonst nichts. Verändert hat sich das Gefühl beim Laufen erst 2014. 2014 habe ich meine Hormonbehandlung begonnen. Und das war ein extremer Unterschied von der Wahrnehmung. Das Gefühl im Körper war auch anders, und zwar weg vom Schmerz, Anstrengung zu einem Fliegen. Also diese Leichtigkeit, mit der ich dann laufen konnte. So ein intensives Gefühl ist schwierig zu beschreiben, dass ich gesagt habe, ich bin irgendwie in einem anderen Film.
Ja, 9:38 Uhr, also noch 20 Minuten gut bis zum Start des Block A. Und der Block B folgt dann ein paar Minuten später. Also jetzt so.
Es gibt langsamere Frauen als ich in meiner Altersklasse und es gibt schnellere Frauen als ich, sogar viel schnellere. Und es gibt auch körperliche Unterschiede, die dann Vorteile und Nachteile beim Laufen durchaus sein können, das ist klar. Eine Frau mit 1,60 Meter wird beim 10 Kilometer Stadtlauf gegen mich sicher einen Nachteil haben. Aber nicht alle Frauen sind 1,60 Meter groß. Es gibt auch welche mit 1,80 Meter, die neben mir neben dem Start stehen und die eben auch eventuell schneller laufen. Und so ist es auch beim Berglauf, dass eine Frau, die leichter ist und kleiner ist, dann im Vorteil ist gegen mich. Ja? Also der biologische Unterschied alleine bei den Frauen ist schon so groß, dass man hier unendlich viele Klassen machen müsste.
Es gibt sie, die 30. Auflage. Ihr seid wieder da, back in time, hier in Ismaning. Mit Koordinationsübungen kann ich sehen, mit Steigerungsläufen. Also macht's euch gut warm. Wir wünschen euch einen guten Verlauf. Glückliche Rückkehr ins Stadion rund nach 17 Kilometern, die jetzt vor euch liegen, bei diesen frühlingshaften Bedingungen.
Die Anfeindungen kommen eher aus dem Zuschauerbereich, die sich darüber aufregen, dass die Amanda Reiter bei den Frauen mitläuft und da einen Vorteil hätte. Man wird beschimpft. Also nichts, was irgendwie logisch zu erklären wäre, sondern einfach ihre Wut oder ihre emotionale Aufgeladenheit einfach Luft zu verschaffen.
Genießt es und wir sehen uns wieder, wenn ihr einlauft mit glücklichen Gesichtern.
Any trans female who is included in sport excludes another biological female.
Es soll ein bewusst transfeindlicher Angriff gewesen sein.
25-year-old African-American.
Shot and killed. His family claims he was just out jogging.
A World Cup ambassador who said that homosexuality was damage in the mind.
NBC's Kate Snow has this.
New information tonight on that brutal attack of a transgender.
Yeah, such reports hit us hard. Because we are all queer runners or runners of color. So that could have been any one of us. It takes a lot of energy simply to exist as a marginalized body, but even more to be exposed while running in public. Competing together doesn't erase the violent structures we have to face, but it does increase the visibility of bodies like ours. And it makes us feel connected to each other. So here we are, continuing to run, continuing to live.
Ready?
Ich bin eine Kämpferin, eine Amazone. Das ist vielleicht auch der Grund, warum ich so hart trainiere und so hart laufe, weil ich sage, jetzt erst recht. Wenn da jemand kommt und mich blöd anredet, dann laufe ich noch schneller und überhole den noch extra, dass er weiß, was los ist. Ja.
The Olympic Stadium of Berlin, an arena built of heroes' tales for eternity. But the apparently impenetrable walls have always been delusional. There has never been a solid framework. The foundation has been loose ever since. Now cracks and voids are being revealed, in which we finally recognize ourselves. Wide gaps in time, in which long-forgotten bodies are connected with an unwritten future. To accelerate this process, we are guiding bundled, strongly radiating light energy into the gaps of the dark stonework, as to dissolve it even faster. The old monuments begin to crumble. The rigid constructs are about to collapse. How does one illuminate a dark and lonely place? We don't know yet what will emerge on this site.
But for now it's time to run. It's time to run.